Hi everyone, welcome back to CSharpCorner live show. My name is Stephen Simon, your host, and today we are with a new show called Coffee with Pros. This show is dedicated for all developers, startups, architects, and any IT professional who want to talk about anything related to their career. We will be having CTOs, CEOs, and leaders from the across ecosystem, and every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Indian time zone and 10 a.m. Eastern time zone, we will be coming live. I will have one expert talking about anything that's currently hot in the topic. And for the first episode of this show, we have someone very special joining us today, someone known by the entire community members. I think a person who is responsible for this great community, none other than let us welcome for the first episode Mr. Mahesh Chand, founder of C Sharp Corner. Hi Mahesh, how are you?
Hi, Simon. How are you? Thank you for having me here. This is great. Um, this is very exciting. It's Sunday, and I'm drinking my coffee, and we're doing coffee
Yep.
with pros. It's my
Well,
coffee right here.
I didn't get my copy. It's still on the way. The courier is still not reached. So I think next time I'm gonna have a coffee that says C Sharp Corner coffee mug. So Mahesh, tell me, how did you how during this pandemic you are just running all these IT companies? How it has affected your location, specifically Pennsylvania and New York, and how are able to cope up with all this?
Oh, so I live I would say 2 hours from New York and outside of Philadelphia. And obviously, New York is hit really hard. But most of the IT companies actually are okay because we are used to working from home. While it's a sad situation what's going on in the whole US right now, with besides pandemic, there's riots going on. There was few people have died in the last couple of days. um, but I think most people are kind of trying to stay home. Some are going outside. COVID cases are kind of going down, from 30 40,000 a day to almost half of that. Slowly things are getting open. Recently, we went to the store. Some people are now going to groceries. People are also start meeting at least close friends and families. I think it's getting a little better, but in last couple of days it's been really bad in the US, especially in major large cities, because of the riots, and there's a looting going on. There is a stores are being burned. There's a like half an hour from me, we have a largest mall, King of Prussia Mall. And I just saw this morning that people are trying to get break into the mall. This mall has hundreds of stores, and they're trying to get into the mall. And I think their intentions are try to steal stuff from the mall. So let's see how things the housing situation evolve from here. I hope people um, calm down. They calm down because the situation right now we don't know. And
Yep.
besides that, people who are running companies, IT companies, as I said, I think things are kind of okay with us because most of us are working from home.
Yeah. Also here in India, I think we have today it's the last day of lockdown 4.0. Many IT companies have started doing up 20 or 30%. People have started coming to their offices now. So things are getting into normal and people are getting back to their day-to-day lives. Having said that, it is 2020 and C Sharp Corner has completed its 20 years. It's been a really, really long journey. From might be the first article that you wrote till today. How do you feel about completing this 20 years of this journey of C Sharp Corner, and and what do you see next coming in these years?
Um, yeah, it's been 20 years since C Sharp Core actually launched. I feel great. I know in past, some I would say few years we have not been focused a lot on the community because businesses and work and those other things. But this year we are more focused. Recently, I don't know if you noticed, Anybody who visits C Sharp Corner regularly, they probably see uh, new homepage launch recently with new features.
Yep.
Let me share with
Yeah.
you. So, by the way, are you? Looks like you don't have power there, huh?
Yeah, so the show must go on, and we started time. The viewers were waiting, so we had to start. So the power is always an issue these days. It's a monsoon
Okay.
coming, and there's a rainy weather out there. So I have a little power backup that I keep. I call it a pocket light.
Yeah.
So that is what it helps me.
Okay. So somehow I was unable to share my screen. But
Hmm.
let's talk about C Sharp Corner a little bit, right? The C Sharp Corner has always been a community for programmers by programmers, right? It's all developers or programmers, or these guys are involved in that. They share their passion. It's just a platform for, from my side, what we are doing this year is we are kind of getting more features for the engagement, right? We are bringing more, latest news. We have start launching these shows which you are taking lead on, so it will bring more engagement to the community. We also want to bring some, focus to not just learning coding, right? We want to focus more into growth. How, if you are a software developer, you are a programmer, you are a tech lead, how can you go to the next level in your career? It's just not learning coding, because coding you can learn from anywhere, right? You can go to those online training websites, you can go, to so many portals out there. What we want to do is, as a software developer, as a programmer, as a tech lead, or even as an architect, how do you grow from your current position and move to the next level? Not only that, C Sharp Corner, we have always focused on how do you become a good person. When I was going through, I was learning, I was your age, I'm going through programming, I'm working in these companies, and I meet these guys who are architects, and they're just like, they have so much ego. I have these, project managers, technical guys, programmers, they have so much ego, and they don't want to talk to you. They feel like, you're wasting their time. We want to think a little bit more beyond that. We're like, okay, sure, you can be the great programmer, but how do you become a good person? How do you mentor young guys? How you take your team with you if you're growing, right? uh, so even some websites, I see the online communities where, okay, if you're no you're a young guy, you're starting in the community, you make some mistakes, people go after you. We want to do is,
Yep.
we want to bring these young guys like, hey, welcome to the community, let's see what we can help you. And we try to teach them the right ways. Not, we means everybody. It's just not me or you, it's everybody in the community. And that's the message we want to give it to, that we, end of the day, we are all human, and whoever are lucky, they should be helping others who are not so lucky.
Indeed, I think many of us have started our journey at C Sharp Corner. I'm one of the example. I started back to C Sharp Corner connected in 2016, and from then it's been always I could connect with the people from architecture. I would connect with people who come from CEOs and CTOs. Having said that, Mahesh, you did mention about the architecture. One of the live shows and that we do are the virtual conferences. We had public virtual conference in the past that was a big success. Many people came and saw it. And also, we have a software architect virtual conference coming next week, Saturday. So, why don't you go ahead and talk about that software architect virtual conference, to which we have already seen over 350 registrations on our website?
So, as we know, this pandemic, we are all stuck home. Like a lot of people of, we are working from home. Some are working, some are not working, but it does not mean that we are going to stop. We have to find different ways to learn and continue growth, right? So one of the ways we are doing on at C Sharp Corner, is we are doing is monthly virtual conferences. And with our goal with conferences is that each month we are going to have one major virtual conference focused on one topic. And on June 5th, this month, I mean, this coming month, in June 5th, in I think 5 days, our first conference, I think we did already one on public speaking
Public speaking.
last
Yep.
month. That was great.
Yep.
People loved it. So this coming month in June 5th, we are going to have conference just focused around software architecture. So if you are a developer or you are a programmer or even a student and you want to know or learn how do you become a software architect, we have a great line of these experienced software architects from different cities in the world. They have been doing architecting software for I mean I would say 20, 30 years. Several Microsoft regional directors are on coming on board speaking. There is going to be panel. I will be there. Magnus and I, we are hosting it. And then end of the day, you will see the difference between application architecture, cloud architecture, mobile architecture, and entire enterprise architecture. Because as a software developer, sometimes we don't even know the difference between these, what they do, how you become one, how do you get certified, and so on and so forth. So any of you want to become a software architect or want to learn what architects really do, this is a great conference. And obviously, everything is free. It's free. Um, it's going to be a full day, 6 7 hours conference.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. So the Software Architect Conference that we are coming next week, Saturday, 5th of June. And as you said, their mobile architecture, their cloud architecture, we are gonna cover the entire ecosystem for the same. Having said that, one thing to notice at C Sharp Corner is, although the name is C Sharp, we support the entire development ecosystem, may it be Azure, AWS, it may be Java, .NET, and Android. So, what was the vision behind having a name of C Sharp Corner, having a branded, still adding all these categories on C Sharp Corner website?
So it was 1999 when I launched a website called mindcracker.com. Mindcracker.com was a community for C++ programmer, and that's what I was doing at that time. I was working with C++. So in December 99, I got these two CDs that has C sharp compiler alpha on those. So I started learning C sharp. And then I put, once I learning C sharp, I start sharing my C sharp articles. And on Mindcracker website, I made a corner called C sharp corner. That means this is C sharp content right there. But within a year, C sharp language grew. Google started sending so much traffic, it became so much that it was more C sharp than C++. And I started working with C sharp, and there was no .NET at that time. Um, so in 2000, 2001, 2003, those 3 years, I wrote several programming books, all on C sharp and .NET. And in 2000, we just, I just changed the name and we just registered different domains, C sharp corner, and that's how it became C sharp corner. Over the years, C sharp corner, as a programmer, when you work with one language or two, as your experience you get, you start learning multiple languages, multiple platforms, databases, and so on and so forth. So people start contributing more than just C sharp, right? So I stopped doing C sharp, I start doing other things, so I start sharing all things. So more people learn from it, they start sharing anything and everything. So that's how it evolved, community evolved from there. It wasn't really a plan that, okay, let's call it C sharp and it's going to be a software developers community. It just evolved from one language to everything now. So as you said, now we have software architecture, we have cloud computing, we have mobile development, we have even career advice. Now it's a community of anything you do in software development. We also now have news. So if you want to know what's going on in the software world every day, we are going to have everyday news coming up. So product launches, product showcases. Some people say we should change the names and all that. So we will see how things go. But
Yeah.
yeah, right now it's basically a community for anybody who is involved in software development, from analyst to product manager to CTO in between.
So you did talk about the career advice section that we have on C Sharp Corner, and this Coffee with Pro show is one added to it. Talking about career advice, this is very important both to an individual who is starting his or her career, or to a person who is 10, 15 years of experience. how should one evaluate that a person is doing well in his or her career, and what should be the next step towards it?
I mean, it's hard to evaluate yourself, right? You cannot just
Yeah,
say, "Oh, let me grade myself. Am I A or am I B or C?" So to learn and evaluate yourself, what I say is that if you are a young guy, you want to achieve something, you need to come up with what's your goal, right? And you'll say,
yeah,
"Oh, I just graduated. I'm just start programming. I want to become an architect." And start with the goal, right? So you say, "I want to become an architect," or "I want to become a project manager." You start with that and say how long it's going to take you, and you look at the industry average. It's probably 8 years is pretty standard. And then you go towards that goal and see what you have to do, right? And then you cannot evaluate, so you need to look at everybody. So okay, this guy, what are they doing, how they're growing, how they're learning. And best way to do that is start meeting people either online or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, and just see how things are going on in your company. If you are in your company and you want to you know learn, you wanted to try to find the right people who, first of all, they have the mindset to educate. Try to hang out in the group, spend more time in the work company and project, right? If you're stuck in a problem, try to spend more time at work and company and show people that, hey, you're still working. You don't want to go home, right? Especially young guys. When I
yeah,
was your age, I would say I was spending all time in my office.
yeah,
And I was lucky that nobody will stop. And there was time where I was sleeping in the office. I was sleeping in the office, waking up, getting ready, starting again. So, young guys, your more time you spend on learning and doing a lot more things, better you will get it and faster you will move. It's that simple. And I again say that programming is something, I know people think it's really, programmers are scientists, they are really smart people. I mean, they are, but programming is not hard, right? If you think of
yeah.
programming, as long as you know algorithms, as long as you know how to solve problems, programming is just learning some kind of syntaxes and putting them together and then applying to your problem and finding the right algorithm and solution for that. That's what programming is. And all this thing takes time. Okay, more time you spend solving problems, coming with solutions, learning how other people are doing, better you will get it.
Yeah, that I think that is something one should take advice from here is to keep on learning, and the one only gets old when he or she stops learning, and so that is something one should focus. Having said that, we have an AMA series where developers and IT professionals do come, and the viewers get an opportunity to ask them questions on any of the technology. In the past, we have had on how to make POC, how to build a better POC. We have talked about conversational AI. We have also talked about UX designs. So we have a bunch of series that we do on C Sharp Corner. So maybe people would like to go and follow along with that too. Having said that, we were not able to do C Sharp Corner annual conference this year, but we do it live these days. So what are the, I think if you talk about the new homepage that we have on C CSharpCon, if that's possible to share, we have an option where we can see latest events and also some latest news over there. So what was the idea of putting up this new homepage, and what is a couple of features that is very core to you and you love it from the new homepage?
Sure, let me try to share this again, see if I can. No, I don't think I can share the screen. No, I don't have option. But so when you think of a software developer, right, or a programmer or a tech lead, and I have been that all the above, right? I started as a programmer, then learned from there, then become a lead and lead some projects, and I now run my own companies. So there is no one place for a software developer or person, programmer or lead who's involved in developing software, writing software. There's no one place where I can go and find everything I need. Right now, there's no place. Okay.
Yeah,
If you are interested in Microsoft, then you'll go to probably Microsoft website. You'll follow Microsoft social media account and see what Microsoft is doing. If you like or work with Google products, you'll probably end up following Google. Same thing with other technologies, right? So uh, as a software developer these days, we just don't do Microsoft or Google or anything else. We do everything, right? These days, if you are a little bit senior developer, you do everything. You do database, you do backend, you build APIs, you write UI. So you end up doing everything. So our goal with C Sharp Corner is that if you come first day, you wake up, you go to the site, you will see everything in your world, what is happening in the programming world, what is the latest news, is what new products are being launched, right? What company is buying what company, what is the new version of React or Angular or C Sharp, and what are the new features there, right? So we want to do, number one, we want to have the news focused for software developers. Number two, we want to have the learning opportunities where people can go and learn. So we have launched a Learn series. So you want to learn React, you go to Learn series, and step by step you can learn React. Okay. Then we are going to plug in certification. So you can also get like test your skills and get certified on your profile. And then we are also going to have, after we're going to provide features like AMAs, like talking to experts on different topics. So if you are building your startups, right, guess what, C Sharp Corner, we're going to have one series where all we are going to focus on startups. So how do you build your startup, how do you find your co-founders, how you build your team, how to get funding, how to go to market strategy, and then how to launch your product. Same thing with the besides startups, then we're going to have a series on consulting. So if you work as an independent consultant or run your small business, how do you grow from there? So we're going to have these different series, and we're going to bring different expert focused on those series. So end of the day, you will find a wealth of information to grow your career in your life. That's our end goal, including these conferences. So when post COVID, we're gonna do events and conferences in person as well. It's just not virtual only more. It's not just virtual, right? We're going to do in person. So until then, we're going to continue doing virtual conferences. And I think we are going to have a C Sharp Corner conference. So far, it's planned in September. And if things don't get better, we may end up doing even virtual conference.
Yeah, I think people would love to come in person. I think that is the event people really look the entire year. So you did mention about the Angular, React. There's so many technologies updating every single day. As an individual developer, how should one keep himself or herself updated and decide which technology is good for them while they keep themselves updated? I mean, if people want to learn about Angular, then there's something called React. If you want to learn React, there's a Vue.js. If they want to learn Vue.js, there's a Blazor. How should one decide which technology to stick to and improve as the technology updates?
That's a good question. And I think a lot of people ask that question is, okay, how do I select? Should I learn React? Should I learn Angular? Should I learn ASP.NET Core? What should I learn? So what I would say is you don't need to learn everything. Okay, you learn just one of them. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of jobs in every technology, a lot of jobs in Angular, React, mobile development, Android, C Sharp, ASP.NET. Everything has a lot of jobs these days. The challenge is that finding the person who is really, really expert in that. So you need to get better at whatever you're doing. So if you're working with a project in ASP.NET, you want to move to ASP.NET Core, just get better at it, like become really, learn a little bit minor details, learn basics, learn fundamentals, then look at the performances, look at the behind the scene, how your code optimization, right? Look at the speed, like code of sometimes we build these websites and they're slow, right? They are taking 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds to load a page. Well, guess what, you need to learn that. Those techniques, no matter what technology you use, you're going to apply in every technology, right? Either you use React or you use Angular or ASP.NET, doesn't matter. So what I would say is, rather than jumping around learning this, learning that, and not getting expert at everything, I want you to master one of them. You want, if you can master one of them, it's very easy to then jump to other one if need to be. If you become a senior developer, like once you are a lead, 5, 6, 7, 8 years experience, I think you will end up working on multiple. You can't be just doing just one only. Okay. You will also be end up doing software architecture. You will be doing some back end work, and by back end work, can be done in anything. It can be done in C sharp, I mean C sharp. It can be done in Node.js. It can be done in any language, right? Then same thing with backend. You also need to know fundamentals of how the data is stored in databases. How do you create store procs, and how to optimize SQL queries? All those things, they matter. End of the day, it's not really about the technology. It's about how good you are. Then it's very easy to shift from one to other. Uh, and to add that, I would say, if your goal, you have to look at your goal. What is your goal? If your goal is to get your next job that pays you more, then you look at the number of jobs what they're available. There are some cities where there are more jobs in React, and you can compare the salaries, right? So one may pay more than other. Um, so yeah, rather than just jumping around, focus on one, build good code, learn better, learn more things just in that, and become expert at it.
That's great. I think one thing to note to take away from here is to get started and to have your basics clear. It doesn't matter you want to move to any of the fancy new framework that is coming. The core subject knowledge is something one should really focus on. Having said that, let us move to more towards the leadership that team. That when someone becomes a team lead or a manager, how should one actually evaluate his or her team and actually tell them where do they lag and how to make the team grow, talking from a leadership perspective.
So if you are a senior person, you're leading a team, and that's where a lot of we lack as a leaders, is that leadership is not just about telling people what to do, right? Leadership is about uh, showing them how they can grow, how they can learn, how can they can do things themselves, but not just tell somebody's telling them what to do. And to do that, first of all, the leader has to learn himself or herself that how do they learn things. And to get to your team to next level, they have to create some programs such as weekly learning, so where you give the chance to your team members to grow. For example, a team leader or a leader in the company, or even architect or project manager, depend on who you are, you can create a program that every week, Friday, we are going to have 1 hour session where one of the team members is going to share anything new they learn with the entire team. Okay, so out of sudden, you are helping the person to learn how to speak and present in front of the team, and then every
Mhm.
team member is learning something new. Okay, same thing with the even team leader himself or herself. They're learning something new, they need to share with their team that, okay, I just architected this API, this is how I did that. And try to be open to get everybody's feedback, whoever has knowledge in the field, because there's always, in programming we can do things in multiple ways, and there's always optimal way. You need to find the optimal way. So again, programming is not really building the software, it's more about finding the optimal solution and solving the problem the right way. That's how you have to think. So once you start thinking, how do I solve the problem, language it doesn't matter, technology doesn't matter, it's all about solving the problem.
All right. On that note, let us take one question from Amit Gupta. He says, "How to build a product into a good brand?" That is a question that many people ask during a live shows. How to change a product into a brand?
So branding itself is its own world, right? It's like programming. Branding and marketing, and branding is a major challenge with the companies, especially if you are starting. Brand, first of all, doesn't come overnight. Okay, brand has so many things associated with it. That's one, is that product, whatever the product you're building, it has to be great. Okay, look at the biggest brand in the world. Look at the biggest brand is Apple, right? Apple is probably Apple, Coca-Cola, McDonald, are those three biggest brand in the world. Okay, everybody knows them in the world. If you go, no matter where you go in the world, and you say what is Apple, what is Coca-Cola, what is McDonald, if you look at these in different industries, right, everybody knows them. That's how you recognize that this is a good brand, because everybody recognize them for, so how did Apple build brand, right? First of all, you have to have a great product. So if you don't have a great product, no matter how great marketing you do, packaging you do, it's not going to work. So first of all, make sure your product is done right. That includes packaging, it can deliver what you're saying. Then you need to look at some of the users, right? Make sure the users are happy, get their feedback, keep improving the brand. After that, it's a long process to get to the enough users, they start talking about you. So keep in mind, if you're like Apple, for example, in the early days, until Apple really had iPhone app or iPad, Apple was really a major successful company, right? They became successful because they launched first of their iPad, and iPod, the music thing. That's where that was first of the product that was small, where people can put their own music and they can walk around it. So that's when people dropped the, remember, the CD players, the cassette players. They used to do that before. So then you just keep listening to your audience. Once you launch a product, go to your existing customers, get their feedback, and keep improving. Keep improving. Look at the, how things are evolving. You have to evolve your product as everything evolves. If you even look at the C Sharp Corner, right? C Sharp Corner 20 years ago wasn't what it is today. We are always evolving it. We are always learning. We are always learning from mistakes, fixing it, getting better at it. And that's how you build brand. And again, I'm not expert in really product branding, but that's what I can share from my experience.
All right, so I think we have one more question falling from the comments. So whoever are watching us live, you guys can use the comment section below the live post, and you can ask question to Mahesh. He will be answering during the live show. The other question comes from Abhishek. I think Mahesh, sir, you can go ahead and read it. It's a little problem for me to read.
As day-to-day developer work at office, how can we manage time to upgrade ourselves with new technologies? That's a great question. That's a great question. I see a lot of developers have the challenge because their companies does not have a plan for growth, right? Companies, even sometimes, they don't care. It's not that they don't care, they just don't have enough resources or planning to say, okay, I have these 6 developers working in this project, how do I grow them, right? They're just working on project, because keep in mind, as a business, they have challenges too. We cannot blame business have challenge. They want to make sure their customers happy, make sure their delivered product delivered right, make sure they are getting paid from customers so they can pay salaries, right? So that's how businesses work. Some businesses, they have more resources, they have plans for developer growth, but some don't. So then it comes to you as an individual developer, that how do I grow myself? Because if you don't grow yourself and you're working in the same project for a long time, you feel like you're stuck, right? You're not growing, and that's kind of demotivating. To keep yourself positive, self motivated, you need to feel like, okay, you're learning something new, you're growing, this is exciting. So how do you do that? So what I would recommend is, if you are in such a company, create a group of few people which you hang out almost every day. It will be your coworkers. The easiest way is, with your coworkers, make a group of 3 4 people. Okay, and then say, you know what, our company is not doing this for us, but guess what, we're going to create a team where every weekend or every Friday, 1 hour after work, whenever you have time, we are going to learn something new. So, and it could be new technology, right? One, you can say, let's say, I'm going to take an example, right? You can create a group of just 4 people in your team. You work in a team on the same project, you work together, you're 4 people. You'll say, you know what, you decide that, hey, you're going to learn something new on UI front, you're going to learn something on backend front, you're going to learn something on APIs. Go and learn anything new, read out there, and then you're going to share with the team every week. And then maybe sometimes, you guys can, if depends on the time how much you have. Like in the US, a lot of us work from home a lot, and when you work from home, you put aside some time for yourself, your own projects. You could start creating your own project, and you go to, share on GitHub and make it open source, and more people join there. So as long as you create that group, either it's in person or online, virtual, doesn't matter. You create this project and say, you know what, we're going to build this little cool project. And the purpose of that project is really learning new things. So, for example, if you want to learn Angular, create that project in Angular and assign every member should have a role. That your goal is to figure out how the, how to build a, how to make it progressive. Your goal is to make sure how pages are faster. Your goal is to, so that's how you have to think. So you have to plan that, stick to that, make sure you put on a schedule. It can be like, oh, let's do today, let's not do tomorrow. You just schedule it that every Friday 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. we're going to do this. So that will be one way to just start learning yourself and upgrade yourself. And then challenge yourself, like, every month something, and hang out with the people who are learning. For example, on C Sharp Corner, we have these MVPs. All of them are self starters. All of them learn themselves new technologies, and they write about and they share about it. So when you learn yourself and write about it, that's the best way even to enforce your learning, because when you write about it, you test your code, you find a lot of problems, and then you share and talk about it. Then you get even more questions, you question yourself, and that's how you get better.
All right, so I think challenging yourself, commitment, and scheduling what you're going to do in the coming days, that is something that Sanjeev should take away from here. Rohit Gupta would go and ask, I think you will have to read this time again.
Yeah, so Joseph has a good comment. You want to share that comment, and that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what
I do that.
Joe is one of the leaders, and he educate people, developers around the globe. He comes to our C Sharp Corner conference, and he's been involved in all virtual conferences. He has his own show going on. As he said, you ultimately are responsible for your own growth and career path. You need to set time aside and learn and improve, and that's correct. I mean, we all, everybody can help you. We can only show you, hey, go learn here, go learn there, but end of the day, you have to tell yourself, you have to make up your mind. You have to be strong, strictly tell your mind that, hey, from this time to this time, nothing else I'm going to learn. And it's hard in the beginning. Listen, anything learning which is not, fruitful, it's not, it's not like a food where you go and eat and enjoy, right? Learning is not that interesting. You have to kind of put yourself in a situation, you know what, I am going to do that. And that's how you build your own, I called it strong mind. A strong mind is how you build that, tell your mind what to do, which will help you. And just stick to that. No matter what challenge happens, just stick to that.
Yeah, I think adding one more question to it, talking about the career path. As a developer, there are many different paths available while they grow. They can either become a software architect, they may move into pre-sales, and some of them may also become a project manager. So, which one of them, how should one decide on which track or he or she should choose?
So let me go back, right? So if I look at my 20 years, 23, 25 years of career, I started programming in 97. So it's pretty much 23 years. Um, so it's not about what path you choose. You need to start thinking about what you like the most. If you want to happy, you want to be happy in your life. And sometimes it's not easy to answer the question, okay, what do I like, because sometimes you don't know. So it's not a static variable, right? It's a dynamic variable, and it's going to change from time to time. So you have to think, what do you like most? Do you like to solve problems? Do you like to learn new coding languages? You like to mess around with programming, install things? Is that what you see yourself 20 years, 30 years later? You love that. That's how you have to think. Or you are more like a people person. You like to talk, you like to present, you like to hang out, you like to go on, meetings and all that. So depends on that. If you are more like in, let's call it nerd side, where you like to just type in computer and sit around, then maybe you want to focus on architecture. Architecture can also be fun because you're solving problems, but you're also learning new things a lot. The architecture is something where you have to continue, it's a continued learning. There's something going to be every 6 months, something new, and you have to make sure you are able to tell your team that, hey, this is how we do things. Architecture is all about every day you're learning something new or figuring out the right way to solve problems, right?
Yes.
Management on the other side is different. Management is more about getting all the people together, meeting everybody, getting on the same page, understanding the requirements, working with architects, getting the timelines and budgeted together with the stakeholders, and then working with the team, explaining them. So you have to look at what is your interest, what are your positive uh, strengths are, what are your, that's how you have to look at it. And if you like in the marketing or any other sides, you can always figure out. I have seen some people, they are 60, 70 years old, they love to write code, they still write code. I've seen some people who just, they were 3 years in coding, they're like, you know what, this is not for me. They end up moving to different direction. So it's really up to individual what they need to be and what they want to be.
Yeah, and I think many people do not start their career as a full-time programmer. Some of them were chef, even from our community. Some of them served in the defense, in the navy, and then later on they moved into this programming. Having said that, let us take one more question from Khaja. He's one of our MVP. He goes and asks, "How can we be motivated at a time when we are learning new technologies?"
um so motivation, if you think of motivation, right, to keep motivating yourself, your mind needs to think that you're doing something positive, somebody is learning from it and is doing something good. That's how you can evaluate the motivation, right? So if I'm doing something myself and not too many people seeing it, it's hard for me to tell myself I'm doing a good job. Okay. So when you're learning something new and you're sharing with somebody, and then people are giving you feedback, you kind of feel like something is fulfilling something in your, inside, that okay, you did something good. So one of the way is that to share with other people, get their feedback. Other thing is, you also partner with it. Don't just work yourself. If you are not one of the guy who have very strong mind, and so you feel like demotivated from time to time, that means you can group with other people. You can create a project, learning project with three four more people, where everybody can lift everybody. Okay, this is can be a collaboration, right? Then if one guy is down, other can pull you up. You don't have to work by yourself. Build something which you love the most, right? For example, if you want to learn new website, say Angular or React or even ASP.NET Core, let's say you want to learn ASP.NET Core and you love animals, okay, and you love charities. So those are three things you figure out. Okay, I want to learn ASP.NET Core. I want to love animals and especially dogs, and I love charities. So those three things you found out. But so you can do is you can build a website for a charity or some kind of non-profit organization. They do take care of dogs, but they don't have a website or they have bad website. You can help build that website. So out of sudden, you just build a website that helps animals, dogs, which you love, and it's for non-profit. That will make you feel good. And then once it launches, and then you're going to feel, I think, motivated yourself. So you need to put all the ingredients together. You cannot just be say, I want to learn Angular, let me go start learning Angular, because you don't know if you're learning, is it good enough, am I doing something from this, because there's no nobody's really monitoring and giving you feedback.
That's great. I think that's well answered by you and Khaja, who is an MVP of C Sharp Corner. He's been committed to give contributions towards the community, and now I think he's moving into machine learning and all that. One thing to ask here, with Mahesh, is that with so many technology changes, not just about a framework within one technology. There was an IO, there was I remember there was AR VR, then there was IoT, then it was machine learning. Now people are talking about blockchain. So what should be, as an individual developer, what should be the next that one should focus?
So, yeah, exactly. Technology is growing so fast. We have never seen this pace in last few years, and every year it's growing faster, right? So, one thing, how do you know which technology has better future, right? Then how do
Yeah.
you see know that? And that's one thing on even on C Sharp Corner we're trying to bring to developers that talked about that. What is the new technology has more future, right? One way you can see it yourself. Ask yourself, right? You're sitting at home. Okay. One thing I want everybody to recommend is, and I do that a lot for every day from about 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Those are 2, 3 hours. I do is a lot of mentorship, mentoring myself, research, and pretty much meditating. It's not meditating now. I'm not doing yoga. Okay. Means I'm doing learning myself, thinking about a lot of things, and which is doing research online, and all that focus is on, okay, let's see who's doing what people are learning, what companies are talking about, what are the trending topics on Google. And I talk to some friends, they all do research as well. So you can see at home, let's think about, you're at home. If you think about what you do the most, so every day, if you look at, I bet every all of us spend several hours on our phone. Okay, 3 4 hours easily, 2 3 hours. The average time in America is 3 plus hours on phone. So that means this is a first sign that where technology is going. Its sign is that it's going to the phone, mobile, right? Now, a lot more things are coming is voice, right? Look at the homes. My thermostat is voice enabled. My devices outside for the water, garden are voice enabled these days. My car is voice enabled. My phone I'm talking to is searching using voice a lot, right? So voice is not, that's how you say, okay, you know what, voice is a new technology that's going to grow more, which means look at the Alexa, right? Look at Google Home. All these speakers are growing. They're like literally 300 million devices are sold each year or something. There's a big number on those speakers. So you don't need to really go outside to learn about where the future is going. Remember, programming is not a solution itself. Technology is a just enabler of solving a problem. Problem is not what outside of us, problem is around us. So you have to look at, okay, what is the problem? Well, what do you see as a problem at your home? Well, oh, my screen is not touch, so maybe touch is the next technology, right? Oh, my TV is not touch, right? So that's how you have to think things. So answer your question, the biggest technology that's are growing right now in next few years, at least this year, is voice is big, mobile is big, cloud is, if you are in computing, programming, and data, cloud is, everything is moved in cloud. Now with the cloud, there's a big challenge with the data. We are like right now, everybody on the phone, everybody in their car, everybody on the videos, everybody on the talking to people, all we are doing is generating data. Okay, every device is generating data. Even I'm watching TV, there is a data consumption coming from server to my machine, right? I'm calling my kid, they're watching video game. What's happening? We're all consuming and generating data. So data is becoming so large that we don't even know how we are going to store in future. We don't know how we're going to transfer in the future. We don't know what we're going to do with the data. So machine learning and AI are becoming a very important, they're going to play a very important role, because data is going to be so much. We want machines to do automate a lot of that work, right? Automation is, RPA is a big technology. So cloud, machine learning, AI, RPA, voice, and then blockchain is another big one. Blockchain is also growing in different areas. It's a little new, it's a little complicated, that's growing too. So all the in IoTs are everywhere, right? IoT, even though in, Internet of Things, they're
Yeah.
becoming a everything of things, right? Even next future, you will see my cup has a IoT device in it. It's going to say, oh, your tea is 65 degrees now, you want to make it me 75? I'll say yes, go ahead. I'll talk to my
Yeah.
cup. So that's where everything is growing. If you look at the technology, in end of the day, You have to look around you, what's available to you to learn what problems you're solving, even at your home by yourself or in the company, and go from there. There's no limit.
I think you did mention about the voice technology. We recently had an AMA with John and Sanjeev where they did even give a demo of the Alexa and how one can go ahead and start building these voice technologies. And it is very new. So if you have anyone are taking from what you said, if anyone wants to learn any of the new technology, just go around and look what most of the people are using these days and get an idea for the same. On the same note, let us take one more question from Rocky Mishra. He is a Microsoft student partner from Nepal. Sir, maybe you can go ahead and read that.
Should I make one more thing? I want to go back to the previous, is I totally forgot, is AR, VR, augmented and virtual reality. And as that's going to grow a lot more, especially with the pandemic is where we cannot really go to these sports event and gather in hundreds of thousands, right? And sports is big
Yes.
in any country. So in future what will happen is there's going to be more virtual reality, augmented reality, where NBA in US is already doing it, NFL already going. They are streaming games on your phone device, where you can put the Google, one of those glasses on, and then you can live like you are in the stadium live there. So that's going to grow light. Plus, you want to buy a new house, rather than looking at the model from home, you can just put the things on, and you can be literally feel like you're walking in the home, right? You want to go visit a store and shop, rather than going on the website, you can just pretend you put these glasses on, and you can walk through the store and try the dresses, how they fit in t-shirts and all that, and you can order from the device. That's going to grow a lot more also. Just want to add that last question. Um, so let's go to this question. What is the question from
Yeah, and I
Raku?
think in the past at CSharp conferences. Okay, so
So question is, should I make finances my motivation to grow on with the tech? When you say finances, you mean, I guess, I'm a little confused with the. So I think he's trying to say is, do I kind of connect money with the learning? If I understood the question right. Um, so money is the biggest
I
motivator in
think
the
he
world.
means he's
Yeah,
looking at the salary bracket.
go ahead, Simon. We lost you. I know you're having power difficulties. I lost you. So anyway, I'll answer. I think you is trying to say is, how do you um, separate or combine, mix the financial aspect versus learning and motivation. Uh, Look, money is the biggest motivator in the world. We cannot ignore that. If your need is, and everything comes with the need. First thing I would tell everybody is that need. You need to look into your need. If your need is to make enough money to put food on the table for your family and support your family and friends and everybody around you, then that should be your biggest motivation. Okay, you can't be, it's hard to be poor and also innovate things, because that's not going to go far. Eventually you're going to run into these problems and difficulties. What if you need to buy a new HoloLens to learn your new project, build some app? Well, HoloLens cost $3,000, right? So having money, enough money, kind of gives you peace of mind, because our first need as a human is if you look at the Maslow's theory of needs, first need is, we have, say, food, home, water, air, all those things around us, right? If we don't have that, we cannot go to the next level. So yes, obviously, um, finances has to be big motivation. And some people make this mistake, they get too excited, and it's not even a mistake, they're fine, maybe some get successful in that, but eventually you run into challenges when, if you don't have enough money. What if you don't have money and you're learning in a lot, and you are helping a lot of people, but then you don't have money to pay your rent, or your family is kind of bugging you all the time that, hey, you want to get married, you don't even have a home. So Yes, I think you need to look at your needs. What is your first need and focus on that. Even listen, I
Yeah.
work in a company where I didn't want to do the project, but they're paying me more. I work on that because eventually you're self-sufficient, then you can do whatever you want. So I think he's asking the hobby versus working on the projects. That's a hobby versus the projects that you make good salary. All right, so
Yeah, I think
Simon.
that is something we as a young people often face. Problem is that the salary bracket or the commercials that we get may not be good enough to, you know.
All
Yeah, so
right,
go
so
ahead.
let's take another question. You see more questions.
Okay, so I think I'm having a glitch now.
Everybody, welcome from.
Can you
I
hear
think,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. There's
Uh,
different people joining from different parts of the world. Um, there's another question. What's the question? How can face recognition technology interrupt the technology industry? Uh, I mean, face recognition is already part of our lives now, right? Starting with the iPhone. iPhone has done that where most of us are already using to recognize who the user is on the phone on that device. Uh, so that said, countries have already start, putting and placing these face recognition systems. We're going to have soon our car, home, everywhere we're going to have face recognition, so we know who we are or who. Imagine this: if we had face recognition system, and during this pandemic we are going through COVID-19. If somebody has COVID-19 positive, somebody's COVID-19 positive, and they, no matter where you go, we can easily identify them and we can easily trace them. So regardless of we like it or not, face recognition is going to come very fast now. Especially it's going to fast forward 3 years because of this COVID-19 situation. So all governments probably going to start thinking how do they implement face recognition. So situation like now we are going into, we can recognize the person, and then it's easy to trace and basically tell them, hey, don't go outside because we thought you were positive, stay home. Simon, you back?
Yeah, I think I'm back. I'm down with my battery of my phone. As you can see, I don't have a power over here. So we had an earthquake the other day, and it's going to rain outside. So that is the reason I'm facing some glitches. I'm really sorry for that. I think we have almost reached your time. We'll take a couple of more questions, and maybe so then we can wrap it up, right?
Yep. So next question
So,
is, let's take another
all
question.
right. So which one do you want to take? Shyam Adhikari, I think he says. Okay, let's take from Shyam Adhikari.
Go ahead. So question is, industries are politicized.
Okay, let me add. I think
Shyam has a question. Industries are politicizing environment and also putting talent into competitive things. What are your thoughts on this? Um, I think I'm not sure. The question is: are you saying that your some companies are using talent into competition? I think competition is always good, right? If somebody puts me in a competition, I'm going to learn from that a lot, right? That's what makes me better. That makes me more use my
yeah.
brain. So competition is always a good thing. I personally don't see competitions are being bad. That's why we get better, right? If imagine if there's no competition, then I don't need to worry about even a company. If there's no competition, they won't innovate. Innovation comes because of competition, right? uh, so I don't see that as a problem. I think that's a good thing. um, yeah, companies sometimes they see their financial gains and benefits, but end of the day, everything is getting better because of competition.
All right, so if you can still hear me loud and clear, I think we have passed 1 hour and it's time to just wrap it up. During this time and
Let's
while we
take
wrap
one more
this
question.
time,
I think Deepa, there's one more question. She's our MVP.
okay,
Uh,
yep.
so this will be, we'll take last question. Says how to move towards the journey of a Microsoft MVP. So it's basically question is how do you become a Microsoft MVP? Microsoft MVP. I have been for several, many years. I was 14 times Microsoft MVP until last year. I said, it should probably be for younger guys. So Microsoft MVP program is from Microsoft by Microsoft to recognize some of the community folks who are doing community services about Microsoft product for free. In other words, they are helping other guys either promoting Microsoft product, educating on them, writing articles on them, speaking on them, building software, open source projects on using Microsoft technologies, or helping Microsoft to improve products by giving them feedback and bugs. Um, and all those things combined. So that's what Microsoft sees that as a okay, these guys are doing a lot of things in the community. How do we say thanks to them? And that's what this Microsoft MVP program is all about. So if you are working, for example, you're working on Visual Studio, you want to give them feedback how to make Visual Studio better or C sharp language better, or you found a bug or you have improvement, they see that as a very value to their product and the company, and they say, you know what, you're doing so much help, do you are, we are going to recognize you as Microsoft MVP. And that's what this award is all about. You are going to these events and conferences talking about educating people on Microsoft Azure, machine learning using Microsoft, ML Studio, all those things combined. That's how they see it. How do you become one? Where you start contributing to the community, you start speaking, you start, getting on their radar. In the past, an existing MVP used to go and nominate you, or you could even go and nominate yourself. But last year they changed the program. Now you have to be nominated by a Microsoft existing Microsoft employee. So best way would be probably figure out the person local, um, who's Microsoft employees, usually MVP lead. Try to contact them and say, hey, I've been doing these things. I would like to see if you could nominate me for Microsoft MVP award. Usually they should already noticing you if you are doing a lot in the community. That's their really role and job is. You can also talk to existing MVPs. Hey, how do I get on their radar? So that's what I would recommend. Trying for MVP award.
Having said that, for all those who have joined us from last more than 1 hour, what one feedback or one pro tip you would like to give them, especially as IT professional working during this pandemic? As we don't see this going back to normal anytime soon, all the things are being in place. For all those guys who have stayed us for more than 1 hour, one pro tip that you would like to give them, bringing your years of experience into software development and this ecosystem.
Well, even it's not even about software. If I have to give one feedback, is that there's so many things going on in the world right now. Like in the US, we have
Yep.
crazy things going on. Um, and as a family, we are living together with more people. We are not used to staying home. We are not too used to staying together, seeing everybody 24/7 a day for 3 4 months
Yes.
in a row, right? So it's very
Yes.
challenging. So if somebody at your home is talking not normal, or being like I mean, depressed, or being like more aggressive, think of that. It's not that they don't know how to deal with the situation. You and we can do is help everybody around us is by resolving these issues, being staying calm, okay, staying being positive, trying to help others. If somebody, if you live with four people and one is saying bad things about whatever, even they don't like food and they like cursing, yelling, whatever. It's not, maybe not because they're not the bad people, or they just, they don't know how to deal with the situation. Okay, they have never been in this situation, right? We have kids now at home, they are teenagers. They don't know how to deal with this, so they are sometimes not happy, they're not talking. So you have to realize that it's not their fault, they have been put in situation they were never been before. So you, as a more educated person in the team, you need to figure it out how to keep everybody together, everybody motivated, everybody happy. That should be more focused than anything else. We got to survive through this. When things get slowly normal, and it may not be normal ever, but at least they get better, things will get better from here. Just stay positive and keep everybody positive around you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Mahesh. It was an amazing having you in today's session, the first episode. We're going to get back to you next week, 5th of June, where we talk about Software Architect Virtual Conference. And we are very excited to have speakers and developers from across the globe. We're going to talk about different software architecture plans that they would bring. So, and thank you everyone who has been stayed for us for all this long. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mahesh. We hope to see you in the next live event.
Thank you all, it was nice. Thank you, Simon.